Okay, this video is sort of confession time. It's all about attraction and love. I think I've truly been head over heels in love only maybe twice in my life. We often like to think of romantic feelings as magical sensation that come from the heart, arising on their own and impossible to explain. And we want to preserve the mystery of the moment that feels like a sudden sparkle. But when we look at the scientific side of things, what determines romantic attraction is actually a series of incredible complex calculations our brain performs within seconds. And hearing such a scientific explanation makes love sound a lot less poetic, doesn't it? But the fact that these calculations happen in our brain doesn't mean those warm, fluttery feelings we experience are just made up. On the contrary, all five of our senses actively participate in the process, and each one either nurtures the budding attraction or decline it altogether. And when we look at saying about love and attraction, in Turkish we often say gözler kalbin aynasıdır, which we can translate like the eyes are the mirror of the heart. And this expression, both that our emotions are reflected in our eyes and that the first gateway to attraction is always visual. Although visual appeal varies across cultures and the time periods, youth, fertility and the signs of good health almost always stand out. Long shiny hair, smooth skin and defined features. And these are evolutionary signals of reproductive fitness. And that's why societies through history have idealized these traits. And today, whether it's the Kardashian making white hips fashionable, or women applying blush to their cheeks, or undergoing cosmetic produced for almond-shaped eyes, and all stem from the same biological roots. When our eyes see something pleasing, our instinctive desire to approach strengthens these visual preferences, and a surprising amount of romance comes from the nose as well. Sometimes even more than from sight. The nose doesn't just detect perfume or color, it also picks up natural chemical signals known as pheromones. Pheromones, okay. And these signals convey information about the person's genetic makeup, immune status, and even reproductive cycle. And they can also trigger psychological or behavioral responses in the person who smells them. And responses they may not even be aware of. And one of the most famous example of this is a t-shirt experiment. And in this study, women at different stages of their cycle were asked to wear the same t-shirt for 3 nights. And later, male participants were randomly given either one of these worn shirts or brand new unworn one to smell. And the interesting part wasn't just their preference, it was the biological reaction. Saliva samples showed that men who smelled a shirt worn by a woman in her ovulation phase had a significant increase in testosterone. And this hormonal spikes creates a biological urge strong enough to make a man notice a woman he might not have noticed before. So science does far more than simply smelling nice, and it touches the subconscious and shapes behavior. And similarly, women's sensitivity to scent is fascinating because women are especially attuned to MHC molecules. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Okay, MHC molecules, which is the genetic building blocks of immune defense. In one study, women rated the scent of men who had different MHC profiles from their own as a more attractive. And this makes perfect sense because combining opposites MH gives children a broader immune arsenal and increases their chance of survival. And attraction isn't limited to eyes and nose, our ears plays a role too.
Men tend to find higher pitched, slightly braided female voice
and signals of a smaller body size more attractive,
while women prefer lower pitched, resonant male voices with a narrow performance range,
and which indicates a larger body size. A voice carries into cues about the speaker's physical characteristics. And of course, touch. Touch is one of the strongest channels of romance. In a famous experiment, participants unknowingly held either a warm or cold cup of coffee before reading a story about a fictional person. And those who held the warm cup rated the character as warmer, more social and more attractive. Those who held the cold cup rated the same character as more distant, stoic and cold. And in other words, physical contact with our environment can shape our emotions and judgments without us realizing it. And if a potential partner passes all the sensory checkpoints, the final and most critical test remains the first kiss. And the first kiss is an intense encounter where scent, taste, touch, and the chemistry all take the stage simultaneously. And that's why many people say they completely lose their attraction after a first kiss. And that first contact is a major final exam of our subconscious. And once attraction is confirmed, the body almost goes into alert mode. Norepinephrine is released and the heart speeds up, pupils dilate, glucose levels rise up, and this isn't a danger response. It's simply the body telling you this moment matters, pay attention. And norepinephrine creates a sort of tunnel vision in the mind, and it locks your focus onto one point and blurs the rest of the world, and your perception of time shifts and your memory sharpens. And this is why most people never forget their first kiss. And knowing that so much of love is shaped by chemicals and evolutionary biology might feel cold at times, but I think these scientific truths make love even more magical, because the next time you look at someone you like, it's not just your heart speaking. Your five senses, your hormones, your genetic makeup, and your evolutionary heritage all whispering together, is this person right? And your body is playing matchmaker for you without you even noticing. And I think that's just romantic as it's scientific. I hope we all can find our love of our lives, or the one. And that's all in this video. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and please support me on the Patreon. With too much love, Shabbat.